but I do stream on Twitch, TikTok. I produce content on YouTube, Instagram, everywhere except for Snapchat, because I believe diversifying your content is very, very much important. But yeah, that's a little bit about me.
All right, Gappy.
Hi, I'm Gappy V. I've been a content creator for a little over 2 years now. I started streaming on Twitch with no camera and my $30 Amazon headset microphone. I'm currently a Twitch partner, and I quit my job to stream full-time right now. That's my current income. I also stream every night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to 4 a.m. Eastern Standard Time over on Twitch, Gappy V. I'm also on Twitter, Gappy_V, because some rando got the name Gappy V and got deactivated. I don't know what crazy thing they did. You can also find me on Skillshare, where I help a lot of streamers learn more about how to grow their channel, how to monetize their channel, because trying to figure out how to turn it from something you enjoy into something that can be a career is a whole other gargantuan beast. So basically, I stream, and I love talking about streaming.
And I'm Ziggy the Beast. I'm a Army veteran that just got out around 2020. I stream mainly on Twitch. I also run a small business for social media management and different things like that for companies. So outside of streaming, I do this for people outside of content creators. I do this for small business owners, restaurant owners, and different things like that. So I know a little bit about diversifying your brand, getting on social media, putting yourself out there. So just because my numbers might not look it, on the business side, I kind of know what I'm talking about. So definitely, we have some very smart people on this panel today, so definitely please take heed to what they have to say. And first, we're going to start with Miss Pinky, 313. So Miss Pinky, the first question we have for you today is, how do you diversify your content? And when we talk about diversifying content, what does that even mean first of all?
Diversifying your content, for me, means making sure you cross all platforms. Again, like I said, I'm primarily on Facebook gaming, but I started out on Twitch. So I made sure in the beginning, if I'm streaming on Twitch, I need Facebook to see me. I need YouTube to see me, you know what I'm saying? So Instagram, I made sure to put my clips on Instagram. And now TikTok is a thing, so I made sure to put, clips on TikTok and stuff like that. So I make sure I post and use my content everywhere. So if I have a 4-hour stream, I can chop it up and split it between multiple platforms. Try not to make it look the same, but make it look different and unique at the same time. So I try to make sure if I place clips on TikTok, it goes with the TikTok formula, if you will. If I put stuff on YouTube, I make sure that it goes with that YouTube formula. Mm-hmm. So that way I make sure everything is unique and different and still entertaining at the same time.
What about you, Gappy V? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I would say my biggest regret going into content creation was probably not diversifying earlier. I think it's very, very tempting as a streamer to want to only focus on streaming, but that's a very, very risky move, right? You're basically putting all your eggs in one basket. So right now, I make about basically about 90% of my income comes from Twitch through like sponsors, donations, subs, everything. But if my Twitch account gets banned this weekend, I'm out of a job, right? I'm going to ask Ziggy for a new application or something like that, right? So it's really, really important that you try to diversify early on. Now, one thing to consider is that when you're diversifying, it's not just about being on other platforms, it's also about different revenue streams, right? For example, how I approach maybe like a new viewer who comes into my chat is going to be a whole lot different than how I approach a brand, right? Trying to navigate that space of how exactly you secure those sponsorships and how you communicate to indie developers, to major brands, to organizations like Dreamhack, is another part of trying to diversify yourself. How do you align your brand with the values that other entities who are looking for sponsorships or deals or brand activations would want to actually work with you? That's a whole other issue, and I think we'll probably talk about it later in the panel, but it's really important that you have a very strong brand, you have a very strong sense of how your brand can help other people. That way, when you're in those types of business conversations, you're going to be able to say, hey, here's what I do. I'm Gappy V. I'm a high-energy variety Indian Twitch streamer. Here's what I can provide for you. Maybe you need somebody who looks like me, like a brown streamer or an Indian streamer to increase the diversity for the brand. Maybe you're looking for somebody who can do like a game review. Maybe you're looking for somebody who can do more technical details and talk about the specifications of a hardware product. Those are the types of things that I can offer with my brand to other individuals. So it's really important that you try to figure out what your competitive edge is so that you can diversify your income and your brand through that competitive edge.
So how did y'all get started? Where does it start? For a lot of streamers, they just don't know where to start, what platform to pick. So how did y'all decide, okay, for Pinky, Facebook is the platform I'm on, and for you, Gappy, all right, I'm gonna do Twitch, and then how to diversify from there? Because that's like a little bit of a gray area, right?
I kind of have a little bit of a hot take when it comes with it, but in terms of picking your first platform, just pick whichever platform you like the most. Mm-hmm. I am a firm believer in the idea that at the end of the day, good content will make people want to watch you. No matter how much marketing you do, no matter how much networking you do, no matter how much clout chasing you do, for lack of a better word, if your content isn't interesting or engaging or unique, nobody's going to want to watch you, even if they heard about you through other platforms, right? So picking whatever platform you like the most and focusing first and foremost on good content is king. Now, eventually you'll get to a point where you're maybe like hearing from different sponsors, or maybe you're hearing about people asking, hey, when are you going to get a Twitter? When are you going to get a YouTube? When are you going to get a TikTok? Once you reach that point where your community is asking you to diversify, that's where you really need to focus on taking all that really, really good content that you focused on refining and starting to push that out to other platforms, trying to figure out what mediums work best. And like I was saying earlier, trying to figure out how you can use your competitive edge in your content on these different platforms. For example, if you're a really entertaining variety streamer, you might be able to do really, really well on TikTok by clipping a certain portion of your stream and then showing that off, right? If you're more of like a tech review type of person, maybe YouTube is going to be your competitive edge, where you can focus on giving more long, detailed, in-depth reviews going over the technical specs of certain products. Trying to figure out what your competitive edge is will allow you to figure out how and when you should actually diversify your content. But at the end of the day, start off making good content, pick whatever platform you want to do.
What do you think, Pinky?
Now, for me, when I first started off, well, let me just brief background. I went to school for television and radio production. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to make sure that I found a platform that would let me be as creative as possible. And I know Twitch with Justin TV, when I first started watching and it turned to Twitch, I wanted to be on that platform. Yeah. That way I can be able to do my cooking shows. I can do my IRL shows, because again, I'm a, wife and mother. So that auntie vibe, people will, love to see. So I wanted to make sure that everybody got to see all aspects of Miss Pinky 313. So I said, Twitch, this is what I want to do. So again, like what Gappy said, that allowed me to be able to reach, different companies and different brands. One company I'm trying to reach out to, because I use it and I love it, is Shipped. Mm-hmm. So I, make sure I use that within my content, with my cooking shows and stuff like that. Beauty, lifestyle, stuff like that, I incorporated. So Twitch allowed me to do that, and allowed me to kind of navigate towards, Facebook gaming with, more gaming, mm-hmm. concentrated. And with TikTok, because again, TikTok is a thing now, and the shorts and stuff like that allow me to go and show you like, hey, I got, apple juice. That's my thing. Everybody know Pinky for apple juice and pizza. So I can do, my my shorts about apple juice on there and stuff like that, and incorporate that. So as long as things, add up with your brand and stuff like that, please, show that off, because, companies are like, oh, Pinky loves apple juice. Let's go ahead and give her a couple bottles of apple juice. Thank you, Mott's or Tropicana.
Right.
So stuff like that, incorporate, everyday things into your niche, if you will. Right. It helps a whole lot with your brand.
Yeah, we always talk, and we've been talking about diversifying your brand, but the foundation of that is the brand. So how did you find out that or how did you figure out that you're the auntie, you have auntie vibes on your stream, or Gabby V, I see that you have you play a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh and different things like that on your platform. But like,
You did your research before this, okay?
yeah.
You got my social security number too, huh?
Well, I didn't want to put it out there, but you know. But like, how did y'all know that that's the brand, that's the avenue that you were going to go down? That okay, this is what I'm gonna do, and this is what I'm gonna do to entertain my community. Because I think that's part of a lot of what people get stuck at is what character or what am I going to do on stream to gravitate to people.
Well, for me, again, you know, I'm getting older. I'm, 35. This will be the last time you ever hear me say my age. But I'm 35. And I'm an auntie, in the urban community. That's 35 and up is auntie, uncle status, So I'm auntie now. And a lot of my community, I call my friends because we all friends. We love each other and things like that. So I decided to say, you know what? I'm going to be auntie. Okay, you're going to be my nephew. You're going to be my niece. You my friend. Hey, friend.
And that's your followers or your community.
Followers. Yep, that's my community.
Okay.
Yep, the Pink Squad is, Pink Squad friends. I'm auntie. And now it's funny because now when they come in, they'll say, auntie. Hey, auntie, and stuff like that. And people see me, hey, auntie, stuff like that. So I love it because we're, a family. So I wanted to incorporate that into the brand.
Okay.
Family first, positivity. I know it's, cliche to say, but for real, especially in the times that we are in right now, we never, we need that family vibe, that love, and, so I incorporate that into my brand, and then other brands see that, other companies see that and say, hey, let me put this, towards you real quick. Can you, tell your community about this, tea and, juice and pizza and stuff like that. So it helps. It does help.
All right, and before we get to Guppy, I just want to introduce Official Chica Gaming to the panel.
Is this on?
Yes,
Hi
ma'am.
guys, I'm fashionably late.
No, that's all right. Before we've been talking about how we can diversify our brands and how our panelists today have been doing that to, I guess, come from where they started to where they are now.
Yeah.
And let everyone know where they can find you at, and then we'll get back into our segment.
Yeah, hi guys, I'm Greta Camacho. I go by Official Chica. You guys can find me on social media at I'm Official Chica or Official Chica Gaming. I am a multimedia personality, host, and digital creator, and I worked with a variety of brands, including Nintendo, PlayStation, Ubisoft. I'm actually now a partnered creator with Amazon, and it really goes to show that diversifying your brand can open new opportunities and new doors to things that you might have not necessarily known you could have done solely just through starting through a stream, for instance. So I'm really excited to be here, and thank you guys so much for sticking by. And again, so sorry for being fashionably late.
That's all right. So we've been talking about diversifying our brand, diversifying our brands, but what is a brand? And so we've been going down the line, and Pinky talked about how she identified her brand and what made her select being the auntie streamer and different things like that. And now Guppy is going to talk about how he did it.
Yeah, so how in terms of how I figured out my brand, as a streamer, I think the biggest thing is that you should just be yourself and just be authentic and figure out what characteristics best define you, and your brand will come out as a result of that. I say this, and I guess there's a little bit of a bias as a full-time Twitch streamer, right? But if you aren't having fun while streaming, there is absolutely zero point in doing it. There are so many better jobs out there with more stable careers where you can't get banned instantly, where you don't have to deal with, bigots coming into your chat saying horrible things on a daily basis. If that happens in the real workplace, you get a lawsuit, you get millions of dollars out of that. When that happens in Twitch chat, all you can do is ban them. So if you're not having fun, why bother? At the end of the day, your brand should really be a representation of you, so you should be focusing first and foremost on being your authentic self on whatever content you're creating, whether it's live stream, whether it's a recorded content or planned in advance, and you should be able to figure out your brand from that type of content. Maybe go back and watch yourself, ask your community how they would describe you in order to figure out what your brand should be. I think you should always focus first on making good content and enjoying yourself first before you start talking about branding, and how you actually are going to approach these companies and things like that. It's very, very exciting to focus first on like, oh, how do I get this big brand deal, or how do I get this big activation with X or Y company, right? But first and foremost, you need to be making good content, and you need to be doing such good content that you enjoy the actual experience of making that content. Too many people fall into the trap of focusing first on like diversifying their brand and getting money over actually enjoying their experience, because again, there are so many better fields to go to if you're only in it for the money.
And Official Chica, how did you identify your brand, and how did you determine what will become Official Chica Gaming?
Yeah.
And determine like this is the avenue that I'm gonna take for my brand?
Yeah, so a little backstory. I was actually in the medical field, and I was 2 years away from finishing my doctorate, becoming a pediatric audiologist with the focus in neuroscience and neurophysiology. And I came home one day and I was like, what the hell am I doing? I was like, this is not what I want to do. I don't want to be confined to four walls every single day doing the same thing. First of all, children don't even like coming to the doctors, okay, most of the time. So I don't want to be that person. Exactly, I don't want to be that person. And so I wrote everything that made me happy. And I'm still able to do those things, but I'm doing it through my brand. And again, my brand is Official Chica, or Official Chica Gaming. And so I still tap into the academia. Academia is very important to me. I'm not sitting here and I'm saying, hey, don't go to college and don't pursue a degree. But what I'm saying is you can still do those things and tap into different fields in academia, even through gaming and streaming. I still do the health and wellness. I still get to make creative and fun content. I still get to work with children. And that's still something that's very meaningful and impactful to me. And so when I started my brand, I knew that I wanted to do these things, but did I know where to start? Hell no, absolutely not. I did not know where to start. As a matter of fact, I rebranded within 2 months. And so what does that tell me? It told me and my audience that there's now non-endemic brands that are tapping into the gaming space. So it's very important that you think outside of just gaming, because now we have Nissan and we have other companies such as Nissan, like Essentia, and other companies that are tapping in to the gaming industry. What are some of your favorite, I guess what I would tell people is like, what are some of your favorite companies, and think of how you guys can collaborate and go from there. But don't ever lose your authenticity. So I never got rid of my academia and my love for medicine. I never got rid of like the whole fun and content creative aspect. I do all of that through my brand. And so first and foremost, don't be scared to rebrand. I did it within 2 months, and it's the best thing I could have done in my life, right? I knew that when I started, I didn't want to do just streaming. One thing that I put it in perspective, especially when we're talking about monetizing a stream, is I always ask people, have you gambled before? And most people go, no, I have never gambled before. And I was like, well, do you have a Twitch stream? And they're like, yeah. I was like, well, you've gambled before, because when you first start, you have no idea whether people are going to show up. You have no idea whether people are going to bid, subscribe, all of those things, right? But you're spending all this time, all this money, energy, and on equipment, and you're basically gambling and putting your business at risk. For me, I see this as a business. I let go of a very good field, right? I was in the medical field, and I let go to do what I'm doing. So what I tell people is definitely think about your branding, of course, but take it seriously. If you really wanted to go somewhere from the very beginning, whether you're small or not, have 1 viewer, 2 viewers, take it very seriously. I've only been doing this for over a year, and when I look at my media kit and I reflect back, and it's not to boast or anything, but I go, wow, I had no idea that I'd sit here and be able to go, Amazon reached out to me and I'm now a partner creator with them. No clue, right? I wouldn't have figured that I would have been working with PlayStation, Ubisoft, and all these big companies, or even just be here talking to you guys staring at me like this, right? So it's amazing what you can do when you have that drive, and when you go, I guess full steam ahead, right? And take risks. Life is about taking risks, and when you take risks but stay true to yourself, there's so many amazing things that can come from that.
So. Sorry, go ahead.
Just to briefly add on to what Chica said, I think one thing she said that was absolutely phenomenal is being true to yourself in your content no matter what, right? Because eventually brands will see that you are being authentic, and they'll be willing to reach out to you. One thing that happened during my period of growth as a Twitch streamer is, and I guess for a little bit of background, before I've worked a wide variety of jobs, but one of the jobs I used to work in was political organizing, so field organizing, helping Congress people like AOC, Cory Bush get into office, get elected, things like that. So a lot of people wanted me to talk politics on stream and talk about social justice, current events, things like that. And I tried it for a little bit, and even though it was getting me a few more viewers, it just wasn't fun. I can't imagine spending the rest of my life spending 6 hours a day, 5 days a week talking about politics. I can barely spend 30 minutes at the dinner table talking about politics without wanting to end the conversation and go upstairs, right? So it's really, really important that you just be authentic and try to focus on making good content with your authentic self. Don't try to focus on like what people might think would be best for your content or what people might think would be best for your channel. You know you the most, and I think as Chica did in her story and what happened with her and her background, it's really important that you prioritize your own happiness and enjoyment first before focusing on the marketing element of your content.
And don't be afraid to like venture out into other things too. So I initially started streaming and I saw the opportunities that were out there for me. So like I mentioned earlier, academia is very important. I'm now partnered with NIL programs and I teach student athletes in D1 schools and stuff like that, like how you can monetize from gaming, right? And so now I have courses through different collegiate programs. I've taught K through 12. I've taught kids how to set up their stream and things like that. There's different ways that you can go and monetize and make your brand and still stay authentic to yourself and really diversify all of your content. So, I mean, if you ever check out my stuff, for instance, I have like, you know, the fun Warzone play, whatever, but then I also have the content where I'm also talking about, you know, the differences in mobile gaming versus PC gaming, or I dive into, you know, the DEI initiatives, or even philanthropy and how that's going on in gaming and esports. And so it's really important for you to really step out a little bit out of your comfort zone too, and just really sit down and think about what makes you happy and how you're able to use that in the current field that you're looking to get into, especially if you want to do this full time.
So a few of y'all have mentioned media kits. I know that's been something that not a lot of content creators are maybe aware of. So can y'all maybe kind of pivot and talk about media kits and how actually important that is to have and to when you're talking to these different brands? And so they can kind of see who you are, kind of like your outlook, your insights, and everything like that.
Yeah, I can talk on that because this is my Bible. I carry this around everywhere. I got them in my book bag. I tell everybody, this is your business card. I know, 2022 technology, papers, thing of a past, but no, if I give this to you, you'll keep it. You know what I'm saying? So I make sure to tell everybody, make sure you have a media kit. I always do mine like a 60 to 90 day analytics, and make sure you update it after that. So I make sure to have all my collabs. So I've done work with Pandora, Diop, White Castle, Whoosh, Animal Crossing, Bath Urban Apparel, H&M, Gamer Advantage, Bunny Game, and now I'm partnered with RGB Custom PC. So now I gotta update my media kit. So I make sure that I have this everywhere. Make sure I be able to pass it to companies and brands that's here. One thing I tell people, make sure it goes with your brand. Don't have like, it would be crazy if I had blue stuff and I Miss Pinky 313. So make sure it blends with your brand. But yeah, make sure you have all the, website, email, again, your analytics. One thing I do have here is like my top games. I'm a Knockout City partner, so I make sure I put that on there. I have Tiny Tina Wonderlands, Minecraft, and everybody knows me for my COD gameplay, Call of Duty. I'm a big Call of Duty fan, y'all know that. I make sure I put, I guess you could say companies like Noir, Real Ones Gaming, Black Girl Gamers, Blurred. I make sure I put everything on here. This is my one sheet. Mm-hmm. I can give this to anybody here and we can work together in some type of capacity. So this, again, Bible. Make sure y'all have this.
So to add on to what Ms. Pinky was saying, in terms of why you need a media kit, when you're talking with a corporation or a brand, you are no longer a content creator. In that moment, when you're talking to them, you are now a digital marketer, and you're marketing your specific brand. And I'm sure this is going to be a shock to many of you guys based on the content creators you've seen, but many content creators are unprofessional and lazy. Who would have guessed that people who stream games for a living aren't the best when it comes to responding to emails or being professional, right? So just like if you ever worked like a job in like a legal field or in like any sort of formal profession, you have to try and be professional and show some sort of radiance of confidence, and a media kit helps with that a ton. A lot of the time, brands who are approaching you might already have the statistics, but showing them that you have a media kit can be the difference between them saying, hey, maybe we'll partner with this person, let's wait and see if we can get some other activations first, versus them saying, let's go work with them immediately. So in terms of what you want to include on a media kit, the first thing is you want to include analytics. So as a Twitch streamer, I include my followers, my average concurrent viewership, so my average viewers over the past like 30, 60, 90 days, and other interesting statistics that make marketers go wow. So for example, I have about, I believe, 8 million minutes watched over the past 30 days, so I include that because that's a very impressive statistic, right? I also include past brands that I've worked with, for example, SteelSeries, HelloFresh, Cure Rare Disease, and I also include what I've done in terms of prior brand deals. So for example, a lot of marketers will talk about the services that they offer, and since you're being a marketer with this media kit, you want to talk about what services you can offer. I can offer a tech review, for example. I can offer a banner ad that's unobstructed on screen, like an overlay, for example. I can give like a 90-second call to action. I can do an hour-long sponsored stream of gameplay, right? You want to offer all those services to them and let them know how you have performed in the past. When a marketer sees, I have worked with X brand in the past, their goal was to hit a 2% click-through rate, and I hit 14%, that makes them think this guy knows what he's doing, or this person knows what they're doing. You want to give that radiance of professionalism and confidence that they're in the right hands, because 9 times out of 10, working with content creators and influencers is the most stressful thing ever for a brand or an ad agency, because it's always hit or miss. And as you can give them that confidence and that alleviation, I suppose, that they can trust you, that they're in good hands, whether it's through that media kit or how you reply to them in emails, that can be the difference between you getting or not getting a sponsorship.
I wanted to add on to that. I think he mentioned frustration with the companies and like content creators. I think part of it too is show of hands. How many of you guys are signed on to a talent agency or have a manager? Okay, just like one person. Okay, so as a creator, you're probably seeking your own talent. You're probably doing your own content creation. Maybe you don't have someone that's going to edit your stuff. Maybe you're, the one that's doing all the engineering behind your stream. You take on a lot of hats, right? And so the easier that you're able to streamline all of these things and have companies reach out to you is the fastest and most efficient way. Because I do tell companies that I'm like, hey, I do all sorts of things, but here's what I offer, and this is how you can reach me accordingly, right? And I think we talked about media kits enough, but I think what also sets a content creator apart that we haven't really discussed is websites, right? You want to have a good SEO, and I see a lot of creators, and it drives me nuts with hashtags, underscores, asterisks. Like it gets really hard to find someone with all of those things, right? So if you have a website at least that you're able to put your about me, your media kit, you're able to put your sponsors, your partnerships, how they can contact you, your social medias, everything is in one location. It does make it really easy, especially if you're Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, whatever. Is like the username is not the same, which I would hope that it is the same, especially for content creators, and most of the time it's not. That it is easier to find someone through a website, and then you're even able to upload your media kit on there where people are able to download it and share it. Of course, make sure that you upload it or update it accordingly. I update mine every week, and I usually put the 28 days difference on there, and then as soon as I get any kind of achievement or I travel somewhere, a new sponsor, new events coming up that I know I'm attending, I'll put that on there. So I think having a website really does set a content creator apart, and it's another way of diversifying your brand.
Yeah, thanks for explaining that. And I just wanted to make sure we took some time to talk about media kits, because I know we mentioned it a few times. So just in case anyone didn't know what that was, now you know. And I have one more question before we do an open floor segment. Is when we talk about rebranding a few times earlier today, how did you know when it was time to rebrand and when to go back to the drawing board, or when to look at yourself in the mirror and say like, okay, this isn't working, and I have to pivot. So yeah.
So when I started, I was like, all right, this logo is gonna be so badass. It's gonna have wings and it's gonna have guns on the side. It's gonna say Chica, because I'm a Call of Duty player, right? And then I started doing a philanthropy event, and it was with breast cancer. And then I'm creating this graphic, and there's this wholesome pink ribbon next to this really aggressive like logo. And I was like, holy crap, like I cannot have this happen. Now I'm working with other companies that may not fully understand gaming yet, but they want the gamers in their audience, right? So I knew I had to rebrand. I knew that I had to change my branding completely. And sometimes it takes that moment to take a step back and go, I'm no longer impacting just the gaming community. There's now education. There's now these non-endemic brands that are interested. This logo is just not gonna work. This branding isn't gonna work. And so personally for me, that was like an eye-opening moment, and it only took me like, I think within like the second month that I started. And so I was like, wow, I spent all this money like rebranding now, or branding, now I'm gonna have to rebrand. And that's totally fine. Sometimes you can even do a partial rebrand, and there's differences in types of rebrands. But that was for me the eye-opener, and once I started seeing that my audience was changing as well. So it's also important to know the kind of audiences, the psychographics, and the demographics of your branding.
I think what I tell other streamers I work with is that there are two main scenarios where you're probably going to want to rebrand your content. It's when you're either not having fun or when your brand just looks unprofessional. So like I said earlier, if you're not having fun doing content creation, why bother? There's a bunch of other jobs out there that are way more stable and way more safer for your future than content creation, right? So if you're doing content that you just don't enjoy, if you don't like your brand, feel free to change it, right? Make sure your fun and your enjoyment of this field is first and foremost, right? The other situation, like Chica covered, is the element of professionalism, right? You're not gonna want like a middle finger or like, a bunch of numbers in your name, right? If you're gonna try and approach a brand that's trying to like, maybe they're non-endemic to gaming, so maybe they're like just more of a generic organization that isn't really gaming focused, they're probably not gonna work with like, I Kick Puppies 123, right? Even if your community enjoys that for whatever reason, you definitely will not get a brand that enjoys that name being plastered on all of their social media, right? So after you've made sure that you're enjoying the actual content that you're doing and you're enjoying and are proud of the brand that you've made, really check and consider your brand from a marketer's perspective. If you had never heard about yourself and all you see is this media kit or this business card or this website or this Twitch post or this YouTube page, would you really want to work with this creator? Does this creator sound like they're professional, they're confident, that they're smarter than the 99% of content creators who are absolutely unprofessional to work with? It's not a firm statistic, but if I had to bet my money on it, I would bet that maybe 90% of content creators who are full-time, so they're already making a full income off of this, don't have a media kit, and probably 99.9% do not have a website like Chica does, right? So finding ways to separate yourself while you're rebranding is really, really important, because if you're not gaining anything out of the rebrand, why bother?
I did my rebranding, I know at the heart of the pandemic, towards end of 2020, actually November 2020, I said, you know what, I'm getting ready to do something. I'm ready to, take it up another level. Let me go ahead and do some rebranding. So I quietly did a rebrand, and I never looked back. Like, I think my rebrand and my, manifesting, new opportunities because of it, it brought a lot of, great opportunities from it. Number one, being partnered with, Facebook Gaming. That was the number one thing. I was like, what? Man, I should have did this a long time ago. So if you feel like you need a rebrand, go ahead and do it. Quietly is the best way. You don't have to announce like, hey, I'm about to do a rebrand. Just do it quietly, and then, shock the world when you come out, But yeah, after, I rebrand, again, Facebook Gaming Partner. And then after that, that's when I first got my first paid collaboration with Pandora, and they gave me jewelry, and I was like, what? Y'all give me jewelry? This girl from Detroit? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, so don't be scared to rebrand. Don't be scared, because a lot of people are like, oh, it's gonna take time, but that's the fun part. Figuring out what's new, what do my community like, what's our favorite, catchphrases and stuff like that. Again, hey Fran is, ours, and, good morning, and, stuff like that. That's auntie, you know what I'm saying? So don't be scared to rebrand. Just go for it. I say do it. Auntie said do it, so do it. Do it.
I wanted to add on to that. I think the main part of what we can learn from this is just trial and error. You never know unless you try, and then you're just going to be left with the what if. And I told myself from the very beginning, if I'm going to do this, I want to leave a legacy behind, and I want to obviously make my parents proud. I mean, they were stunned when I told them I was no longer going to be the doctor of the family, right? So I was like, I had to show out. And so for me, it's important to just give it a shot, and you can at least say you tried, and if it didn't work, then you learned how it didn't work, and then you can maybe try again later. So do not be afraid of a rebrand. That's actually one of the most impactful things you can do to a brand. I mean, most people don't even question the rebrands that Coca-Cola has done over the years, and they've done like 10, okay? Like, no one goes back and goes, oh, they should have kept this logo, or they should have done this. Like, most companies just do it kind of, you know, quietly, and people don't, I mean, people like it. I mean, most of the time people like it. I wouldn't say all the time, but most of the time people like it. But as a matter of fact, it's really what's important to you, not just your audience. So always take care of you first before, you know, you think about your audience too, because if you're not happy, then it's going to reflect, and then it's just like a domino effect from there.
The huge industry secret when it comes to successful content creators is, I would actually say 100% of full-time content creators learn by trial and error. They did not learn by like picking up a book per se and only doing that, and then it was, you know, they were all set to go. If content creation was that easy and straightforward, then everyone and all of their parents would be full-time YouTubers or Twitch streamers or content creators or whatever, right? There's going to be a lot of failures. There's going to be a lot of successes, right? And it's important that you document those and you try to learn from your mistakes or learn from what happens, right? I'm sure everyone on this panel has dealt with like a bad company or a bad activation gone wrong. Everyone has had streams where they thought it would do really well, and then all of a sudden you have 20% of the viewers that you were expecting to have, right? There is going to be mistakes along the way, but the question is, how do you get back up and how do you continue improving from there, right? Because content creation is not a sprint. There is no end goal, there is no finish line per se. Your goal is to just be on there as long as possible and survive the marathon. I said this on the panel I was on yesterday, but there's a cooking YouTuber named Adam Ragusia, and he has a really good analogy for content creation. Being a full-time content creator is like being on a train, but that train is going at like 200 miles per hour, and your goal is to stay on that train for as long as possible. It's not about getting to some sort of end goal. You just want to stay on the train while it's going at that insanely fast speed, because there's a lot of rewards to that train of content creation. But eventually that train's going to stop, right? Maybe your account gets banned, maybe your community falls off, maybe 2 years from now Twitch is going to be the next Mixer. Hopefully not though, because I'm still under exclusivity with them, so please Twitch, don't mess it up, okay? But it's really, really important that you try to survive that marathon and focus on the long-term goals, right? Try and use those short-term goals or mistakes or lessons learned to help you out in the long term.
One thing I did want to add real quick is, speaking of trying things, you know, I incorporate that in my brand for science. Everybody know for science. So we love trying stuff for science. I tried. I want to keep it to myself, but I tried one thing with my stream for about a week. It didn't go right, so I was like, nope, I ain't gonna tell nobody about this. We gonna scratch this. But yeah, don't be afraid, y'all. Don't.
We're coming to the final half of our panel here. I wanted to make some time to open the floor for questions. If anyone has any question for our panelists, I wanted to give y'all that time before we get into our closing remarks. So does anyone have any questions that they want to ask our panelists?
You guys have mentioned accounts getting banned. What's that process like when you've been streaming for a couple of years and then all of a sudden your account gets banned? How does that happen?
So thankfully, I have not been banned. I'm proud to say that I still have a job.
I can't speak on that.
But generally, with all of these content platforms, you know, you can get banned for, in theory, any reason. Twitch, on their contract, is allowed to kick me off their platform for any reason. You might have heard on TikTok, there's a thing called shadow banning, or big accounts will randomly get banned on TikTok for no reason, and then they'll hear back from TikTok a year later saying, oh, sorry, it was a mistake, we accidentally banned you, feel free to come back on the platform, right? That's why another reason why diversifying is so important is the element of security. Content creation, unlike other jobs, is extremely unstable, right? You could get banned from any platform, theoretically, tomorrow, right? So it's important that you try to make sure you're on as many platforms as possible and that you diversify your income streams as well. If you have multiple revenue streams, then for example, if my sponsorships all go away next month, I'll still have my subs, bits, donations from Twitch, right? If I get banned from PayPal for some reason based on an accident, for example, I can still collect donations through other methods, right? It's really important that you have that plan A, plan B, plan C, and that you have different platforms involved, because mistakes happen, right? These are very, very large tech companies, and there are false positives that occur. People might mass report you and you might get taken down on Instagram over an accident, right? For like a week or so. But that's a week where you can't make any sort of content, have any sort of growth, or have any sort of income on that platform. And that's one of the riskiest things about content creation that people forget, right? You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket, because you can get banned, you can lose your community for some reason, anything can happen, right? It's still a wild west out there, so you want to make sure you're as safe as possible, and that's where diversification really comes into play. Yeah, no problem.
I was just also going to add, at any point, any of these social platforms can shut down. Everyone had a meltdown when Twitter shut down, or was it Facebook, and then everyone went to Twitter, but then not everybody has a Twitter, right? And so I think this hones back as to why I started developing my website, because that's my website. I own that. I can make changes at any time. I can alert my users, my subscribers on there. That's not something that someone can take away from me, and I'm not dependent on someone else to kind of keep that rolling, kind of like Twitch and Facebook, all the other social medias. So it's very, very important that you think about those things as well, because at any point, something can happen tech-wise, something can shut down, and then you can't stream, now you can't communicate with your audience, that sort of thing.
A good example is Mixer a few years ago. Microsoft launched this big platform. They hired a bunch of big streamers, poached them off of Twitch. Everyone was excited for Mixer, and they shut down within like a few years, right? And there were content creators here at Dreamhack who were Mixer partners. They were exclusively streaming to Mixer, and all of a sudden one day they get a notice saying Mixer's going to be shutting down within the next 30 days. Good luck, right? But the reason... It was way quicker? It was way faster than 30 days. Okay, so it was like a week to get kicked out. Like, we're talking landlord's level of eviction.
We were trying to be nice here.
But Mixer creators like her and the audience were able to survive because they were able to diversify their content, right? Even if for whatever reason one content platform shuts down or falls off, or your community on a platform shuts down or falls off, you'll have other places that you can go to instead, so that you can still continue on this path of content creation.
I've never experienced it, but that's my biggest fear, is for like a platform, or we'll just say Twitch, because in the beginning I was primarily with Twitch, and I would be just devastated. So I made sure to diversify and make sure I have, okay, I got my TikTok if I, need to. Okay, I have Facebook if I need to. Okay, I have YouTube. I don't think YouTube will ever disappear, but just in case, I got another platform to, fall back on. And once I partnered with Facebook Gaming, it was my partner manager that brought up, say, hey, you have awesome content. I said, yeah, thank you, And she said, you need to really think about a website. You're like, you're right. So, Ziggy does websites, and I say, hey, Ziggy. And I'm able to have another platform that's mine to, put my content on there as well if I need to. I can have my schedule there. I have my videos, my portfolio where I've done work with these brands and stuff like that. So if other companies come, they can see the type of work that I do on there. Discount codes, stuff like that. Everything is there, and I don't have to worry about a platform just disappearing and just, seeing, Munchkin Doom and, Miss Fun Size on Mixer and stuff. It broke my heart, and I said I couldn't imagine, so they were, my teachers, and diversify. Make sure you diversify your content.
And even if you are exclusive under a certain contract, so for example, I'm an exclusive Twitch partner, right? So I can't live stream on other platforms. You can still try to find ways to make content on other platforms, whether it's going from live to pre-recorded to live, etc. Even if you're under exclusivity, make sure you read that contract very, very carefully. I love Twitch a lot, but I know it's not safe for me to stay only on Twitch. So finding ways to work around those exclusivity clauses is really important.
Hope that answered your question. You have any other questions? What you got, Mr. Bev?
So I heard you guys talking about partnerships with companies and brands. What's the difference or importance between affiliation and partnership?
So the question was, what's the difference between affiliate programs versus partnerships when it comes to sponsorships? So brands will typically do 3 different options. The first option is an affiliate program where they don't compensate you up front, but they'll give you some sort of discount code or some sort of tracking link. And whenever a user buys a product from that tracking link, you receive a percentage of that product. So for example, I'm on Amazon affiliates and I receive 0.5% of anything they put on their Amazon shopping cart, even if it's something completely unrelated to what I link, which is nice. Most companies, however, will say they have to buy this product and you'll get like 10% of it. The other option is a sponsorship, which is where they pay you up front in order to give some sort of call to action or some sort of goals. There's no rewards or any sort of kickbacks for certain metrics. Most brands will do a mixture between the two. They'll pay you up front and then say, hey, if you get 30 people to sign up for this mobile game, we'll pay you an extra X amount of dollars. 60 people will pay you X times 2 amount of dollars, et cetera, right? Partnerships where you're getting paid up front and combination deals where it's both an affiliate program and a partnership where you're getting paid is totally cool. I strongly, if I haven't said it enough, strongly advise content creators from avoiding pure affiliate programs, because pure affiliate programs aren't actually paying you until you make a sale, right? Would you ever take a job where you are being a marketer, right, but you're only getting paid off of commission? Only if that commission is huge would you take it, right? But when the commission is $2 for an energy drink and you have to sell what? 10 energy drinks to make $20 an hour, you gotta do that every single hour, that's not reasonable, right? When you talk about commission jobs in real life, those are usually like a car salesman where you're selling a pretty expensive product, right? Not a $20 like protein drink, right? The only exception I would say to taking only affiliate program, or to never taking affiliate programs, my bad, is the Amazon affiliates program, because tons of people use Amazon, and even if they don't buy that specific product, as long as they buy anything on Amazon within the next 24 hours, you get a percentage of that. It's super duper passive income. I don't even talk about my Amazon affiliate links, but a lot of my viewers and followers and fans will just use my Amazon affiliate link and then just buy whatever they were already going to buy on Amazon, and then I get a cut of that, which is super duper helpful. Besides Amazon, I would strongly advise people from avoiding affiliate programs. Even when you're starting out, it might be tempting to say, oh, I got to work with this big sponsor for an affiliate deal, right? It's not worth the time, it's not worth the effort. Even if it's a big brand, it's not gonna be worth spending 8 hours a day trying to sell products that you can make like $5 at the end of the month from it.
So I feel like affiliations don't take as long time to forge as it does for like a partnership. And so I strongly recommend, if you guys haven't discussed this yet while I was away, getting someone to review your contracts. Even affiliates have contracts, and sometimes they prohibit you from working with other companies. For instance, if you want to work with, I don't know, I'm a big fan of Essential Water, right? And let's say I already have, I don't know, Aquafina, right? And my affiliate with Aquafina says, well, hey, now you can't work with any other water company. Well, there goes that, right? So it's make sure that you really look at your contracts even as an affiliate, because sometimes those have a time date too. And I know we keep talking about the money aspect too, but just remember that time is also money, right? The time that you spent creating that graphic to promote, the caption, the hashtags, if you're doing things correctly and checking the analytics and when your peak engagement time, all of that stuff is a lot of time that you put into just one post. I do a creative brief for almost every single campaign, post, everything that I do, everything has a purpose. I don't like to just put stuff out in the air for no reason. Everything has a purpose. And it's very, very important that you look at time as also money, because you don't get that back. And so I do agree. Personally, for my brand, it does not work. I don't want any affiliation. So when I put myself in front of a company, I say, hey, this is what I can bring to the table. I'm not interested in this. This is what I'm looking for, right? So go in there very, strong, I guess opinionated, right? But just in general, just go in there with knowing what you want, and it'll really actually make things very clear for both, not just you, but for the company. So make sure that you really sit back and think, is this what I want for my brand? Do I want to sit here and spend X amount of time creating a graphic for hopefully, maybe $20 from an affiliation? And then not to mention, keep in mind, as a creator, you're getting those 1099s, right? So keep in mind, you're really not getting those $20 back. You're not getting the full thing. So that's also something to keep in mind. But the main point I want to get away from is, or get to, is that time is also money, and there's a lot of time that you invest in content, and you want to make sure that you're getting an investment back, a good ROI on that, or ROI.
And to add on to what she was saying about valuing your time, the reason why a lot of these affiliate programs are kind of sketchy is because there is no guaranteed payout, right? At the end of the day, if you don't sell 10 of these products, you're not going to get a payout, right? Would you really value your time so little that you're willing to spend 5 hours pitching this type of product, trying to get your fans to buy it, only for maybe like nobody to purchase it, or for maybe 1 or 2 people to pick it up, but you don't hit the minimum threshold? Probably not, right? It's important that you value your time early on, especially if you're considering trying to do this full time, because you have to value your time doing content creation versus valuing your time at a stable, more safe career path.
And I think we've all kind of fallen victim to it, so don't be like, oh man, like, they're talking about me, because I mean, it happened to me too when I started, so don't feel bad, but really, I hope that after this, you sit down and evaluate what your brand is, where you're at, and where you want to be, and make those necessary changes if you need to.
It happened to me as well. Like we all said earlier, trial and error, right? 99% of content creators learn through trial and error.
With me, I try to steer away from, affiliate.
So that's like across the board agreement on this, seems like.
Yeah, but you know what? The only exception that I do have, because I do say that I'm not a salesman, I'm a businesswoman. You know what I'm saying? And with affiliate, you have to be a salesman, just to make at least $10, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So the only thing I'll say, if it goes with your brand, go for it. I do have a few affiliateships. One is the makeup brand, Gamer Glam Cosmetics, which is a black woman-owned LGBTQ, business. So it goes with me. It goes with my brand. So that's
that makes sense.
Exactly. Another one is a coffee brand. So I make sure it goes with the brand and stuff like that. But if it doesn't go with your brand, don't do it. It's a waste of time. Just being honest. You know what I'm saying? So keep that in mind. You're not a salesman. You're a businessman, woman,
All right. I think we have time for one last question, and then we'll be going into our closing remarks. We have one more question. Hey, Ms. Mara.
You guys mentioned rebrands a lot. At what point do you involve a professional for that? Because I know there's a lot of free services out there, but at what point do you take it to the next level and hire an actual graphic designer?
So she was saying, in terms of rebranding, when we talked about rebranding earlier, there's a lot of free services that a lot of content creators use, but when does it get to a point where you actually hire or seek the services of a graphic designer, an artist, or someone to maybe work on your rebrand?
So I would say that you really, and this is my personal opinion, right? And I'm sure other people maybe on this panel, and I'm sure other content creators would disagree, but I don't think you should put in money to graphic design or, stream-only type of tools until your stream is making money to pay for that, right? I used a $30 Amazon headset mic, shout out to Amazon affiliates, I guess, but my $30 Amazon headset mic from a company that got banned on Amazon 5 different times. I still can't get that headset ever again. And I didn't have a camera at all, right? And I only got a camera, like a webcam, and I only got a Blue Yeti microphone, which was my first microphone, once my stream started making money and made enough money for me to be able to afford paying for those things, right? It's very, very tempting to spend $1,000, $1,500 getting all these overlays done, getting this really nice DSLR camera, getting all these super duper nice equipment. But at the end of the day, equipment does not grow your stream. Good content does. If you are entertaining and engaging, people are fine with you not having a camera or not having the top tier quality XLR microphone, right? So I would wait until your stream is already creating that revenue for you to afford your graphic services before you start buying graphics or before you start buying like a Stream Deck, for example. Don't buy that Stream Deck until your stream is making so much money that it's basically paying for all that equipment.
When I first started, I know this is going to sound insane to you guys, but I didn't have any social media. Like when I tell you that I was strictly just in the medical field and I didn't even think about doing content at all, I had no social media, I had no equipment, nothing. So for me, my experience was a little bit different. I did have to purchase some things, but what I will say as far as like stream overlays and branding in that aspect is that your stream is composed of 2 things, and that is you and your gameplay. So what's important is for you to have a good camera, decent lighting, and then just your gameplay. So I've seen people that don't even have all the crazy static or animated overlays. I personally don't. I think it takes away, especially when you want to build content from your stream. It's just a lot. You have emojis flying around everywhere. That's just not my style. It works for some people, personally not for me. But it really depends on you and what you want. So when I started, I did pay someone to do my graphics and stuff like that, because personally, like I said, time is money, and I'd rather outsource someone, give them a job, give them something to do, and then I can focus on building content. So that's how I also see it. Same thing with my graphics now. If you go on my social media now, I do have a team on payroll. And so for me, it's important to elevate these people and help them create their portfolios and give them those opportunities while I continue to build content. So it really is a matter of you sitting down and figuring out what it is that you want for your brand. But it's not always bad to invest in your brand. You have to invest some way or another when you start. Or even just throughout your career.
For me, I was blessed enough to be married to a graphic designer, so I don't have to go too far. Thank you.
I think maybe the shortest way to describe it is maybe to get like some sort of proof of concept, right? When we talk about like investing for like tech startups, for example, one of the first things that you need to get is a proof of concept. Some sort of proof that like this is going to take off, that this has potential, right? Once you know that your content has potential, maybe have a YouTube video blow up all of a sudden, right? Or maybe you secure some really cool sponsorship. I think that's one of the biggest telltale signs that like you are ready to like start putting more into your brand, right?
All right. Well, first off, just thank y'all for taking the time to share your insight and knowledge. It's a lot of, I don't know if y'all realize, it's a lot of knowledge at this panel right now. And it's very good to see y'all take time to share that information, because a lot of us, people, especially streamers coming up in the industry, sometimes have a hard time maybe connecting with, bigger streamers to get that information from. So anytime that you all put aside to share that information, we appreciate it. So in closing, one more time, we'll go through the panel list and just let everyone know where they can find you. And from there, I guess if y'all want, you can take photos or exchange information with each other and people in the audience as well. So start with Ms. Pinky.
So yes, you can find me everywhere, actually. Facebook Gaming, Miss Pinky Through and 3, Twitch, Miss Pinky Through and 3, as well as TikTok, Miss Pinky Through and 3. Visit my website, MissPinkyThroughand3.com. I stream daily. I post content on a daily, so you can't miss me. Like I said, I'm everywhere. But yeah, if you want to talk to me more, visit my Twitter, Miss Pinky Through and 3, play _, and like I said, I have an open door policy. So yeah, questions, I'll be able to answer them for you.
I'm Gappy V. I'm a variety Indian gaming streamer. I stream every night from 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to 4 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. My sleep schedule has never recovered since. I am on Twitch, YouTube, and Twitter primarily. My Twitch and YouTube are Gappy V. My Twitter is Gappy _V. And I also teach on Skillshare now. So if you're interested in trying to learn on how to grow your Twitch stream and trying to figure out how to improve your brand, you can find me there, Gappy V. I have business cards if anybody wants to reach out. A lot of people helped me when I was starting to grow my stream and when I was trying to figure out whether I'm going to turn this into my full-time income or not. So I try to pay it forward. I'm always an open door. Feel free to email me. Feel free to reach out from the contacts on my business card. Any way you can find me, I'm more than happy to help, right? Because every single content creator who is full-time now started off as like a 0-viewer streamer or whatever, streaming to nobody with no idea if they were going to succeed or not, right? So I want to be able to help pay it forward to all of you guys. So feel free. I'm here throughout the rest of the weekend, and if you want, I can hand out business cards right after this panel.
Just want to thank you guys for sticking by, and also the rest of the panelists. I'm Greta Camacho. I go by Official Chica. You can find me on social media at I'm Official Chica or Official Chica Gaming. As far as my stream, I also do hosting events, and I do like the education aspect in gaming and esports too. So I stream whenever I can. I'll probably turn on my stream later. But if you guys want to come up to me, ask questions, I'm more than happy to answer those for you guys. And one thing that I do want to like end the panel on is the only mistake is inaction. The rest is trial and error. I think we've kind of learned that from from today's panel, but also the world is your oyster, and don't be afraid to take risks, because that's when you have the best stories, and you want to be able to tell stories when you're older. And that's what I told myself when I started my streaming and my content creation journey, and now doing it full time. So I just wanted to leave on that, and again, thank you guys for being here.
All right. And once again.